All right. Okay. So I'm gonna try and get going. So I cut my video up and edit it and put it
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks nice. And so if I'm talking and then I like stop and then I like start over, it's not because I'm like a robot. It's because
Tell me again, what's going on with this question?
hey guys, welcome to Inside Comics with George McHale. I'm George, and today my guest is the hitmaker, Garrett Gunn.
What
Thanks,
up?
yeah, thanks for being on the show, dude.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Man, you've been putting out one amazing property after another, and
Very kind of you to say.
yeah, no, I've been. I first kind of learned about you last year with the Franklin Ghost, kind of announcement there.
Didn't we meet? We boothed right next to each other in Portland, didn't we? At the last, what show was that? Was that Wizard World?
That was Wizard World, yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, you had your setup for your book, the monster book, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why can't I ever remember? Cover of Darkness.
That's right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
remembered a thing. I never remember anything.
uh, yeah. I was super jealous of you because you like were hobnobbing
Oh,
with the voice of
Cal Dodd.
yeah, the voice
Yeah,
of
my
Logan,
buddy Cal.
Wolverine
Yeah.
from the X-Men the animated series.
Yep.
Yeah, so you've had um, your first book that was kind of like went into production to become an animated series was Franklin and Ghost.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if you can give us an update on like how's that coming along.
Great. So I think I told somebody the other day, like I literally just gave the final approval for like the full animated trailer. So we have like a 3.5 minute fully animated trailer that's like completely done, and I think it's set for like press release. Like it's just waiting for. I think they're finalizing some stuff with like the people that are going to put it out. The news outlet it's going to go out with. So we just did finish that. We just finished the pilot script, like the fully done, approved pilot script for the first episode, and the animation team in Ireland has already started animating the first episode. So right now we're just in production. It's just the long, tedious road of making cartoons.
That's so exciting and
Yeah.
exciting. And for people who don't know what Franklin Ghost is, can you tell them?
Yeah, totally. So, Franklin the Ghost is a sci-fi bromance about these two creatures that come from this planet called Dephilion, which is just like this very boring mining planet where nobody does anything but break rocks all day. And they're just like kind of like, man, this sucks. Like, we never get to do anything. We just like work all day. Like we should get out of here. We should like go explore and like see what else is out in the universe. So they steal a spaceship, but neither of them can fly, so they crash like immediately. And while they're bickering on the meteor that they've crashed on, the meteor fractures apart and crashes to Earth, kind of splitting them off in different directions where they land. And they just sort of like go on this like fun-filled quest for like something different, some sort of like non-monotonous rock breaking schedule across Earth. And they sort of like inadvertently set in motion like a chain of events that could like destroy the galaxy.
Yeah, it's a super fun book, and I'm super excited for you for the television show, and then also you've got a board game based on the property too.
Yes. Yeah. So Deepwater Games, the company that's behind like some really big hits like Welcome to and Fantastic Factories and a bajillion other things. They made a board game that's like a very like card-based party game about like sabotage and it's I tell people all the time it feels like it feels like poker, but like if you could like stab the dealer in the back. Yeah.
Is the game out now?
The game's on pre-order right now, so it officially I think the release date is like February 15th or something like that. But if you pre-order the game, you get like a bunch of exclusive Chromium bad guy cards. So you get like a bunch of cards that like are playable in the game that you get like alt art, like alternate art versions of them, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked making board games, and as a kid, I'd like make like my own X-Men board game with
Oh
like
my
I have
god.
like the Jim Lee trading cards,
Oh my
and
god.
yeah,
I have, you know what's fun? I have a sealed box of those Jim Lee trading cards, a booster box.
nice.
And it's like on the front, it's got like Wolverine on the front, and it's like, look inside for exclusive Jim Lee autograph cards. And I'm like, maybe I should just like break this thing open and just like maybe I'll pull a Jim Lee autograph and I can sell it to fund
Yeah,
more
no,
comics.
I'm up here in Canada, and cards were huge. It was
Oh
hockey
yeah.
cards though, and you know you play little games where you got to like stand the
Yeah.
card up and you like throw it and like try and knock it
Yeah.
over.
Oh my god.
But for me, it was like the Marvel cards were just like so much cooler.
You're such a nerd, man. Such a
No.
nerd for your X-Men and your Superman.
You know what? I should probably come clean. This actually isn't like my stuff. This is my buddy John Delaney.
Yeah.
He's an artist, and we share a studio together. And he's got like all this cool stuff. And mine is my side of the office is, or we're supposed to call it a studio. My side of the studio is like full of like
Yeah.
boxes and like comic book crap.
Business stuff, like print. Yeah, like I intentionally like set up like a whole side of my office that was like for display, because the real office is just boxes of comics and like functional things, shipping materials, a bunch of things nobody cares about seeing.
So you have another series
Yes.
called War Corns.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
do.
yeah, and that is inspired by some of your time in
Yeah,
the military.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Warcorns is a tie-in to the Franklin and Ghost universe. And it initially started as a one-shot that was just sort of like, it was meant to be just like a funny outlet for me to be able to make fun of a bunch of my military friends. Because every character in Warcorns is the culmination of multiple people that I served with, like real peoples and their like terrible personalities. And so, you know, like Gunny represents every Marine I ever served with, and Arrow's every Air Force guy I ever served with, and Big Sarge is all the broken, old, crusty Army people I ever served with. Like, all of that stuff in that book was just meant to be like a one-off, like, hey, that's funny, like I'm gonna make all my friends like these dope unicorns, and they're gonna have guns, and they're gonna be stupid and like filled with cliches and tropes and everything else. And so many people got with me and were like, I love this book, like I relate to this book, I love this character, like Gunny's so awesome, like I need more Gunny. And now we have to make it like a whole series because all these people like this book so much.
I was wondering if it's true, like how on TV you see the drill sergeant in the military like calling you like a maggot. Did anything like that
Yeah.
ever happen to you?
Yeah, tons of stuff. I like, you know, like the big thing that all drill sergeants go off of is like it's the easy stuff, right? Because it's your IQ, it's your weight, it's all the things that are easy to make fun of you about. I went into basic training a very large boy and not in shape, and so I was constantly getting called fluffy and fat ass. And Hollywood obviously is a little like, you know, they you know, make it a little bit more extravagant than it is, because when you're in it, it feels really bad and really terrible and really real. And when you watch it on TV, you're like, that's funny, like he's getting made fun of by a drill sergeant, but you really think you're gonna die. Like you really think this person's gonna kill you. So it is very true. Like drill sergeants treat you like ass. Like it's really bad.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense. And
Yeah, but it also is like part of the experience, because like you don't get to the other things if they don't destroy you first.
what was your position in the military?
So my job, I was an intelligence analyst. So my job was basically just to do like trend and pattern analysis in like transmissions and a bunch of like analytical work for like you know, I want to know how this where's this bad guy set off bombs? Cool, like let me find out for you.
So I see you have 2 new series starting like right away here. You've got one book called Bare Bones.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Bare Bones is a ongoing series sort of about this guy that is sort of like disenchanted with the dependence that society has grown, like has like attached to technology, right? Like that he hates everybody's on their phone all the time. He hates like everything is on the internet. And he's just like, I want to get away from all of this shit. I hate all of this. So he moves as far as he can away from society up to the mountains, which is a real location by where I live, which is the Lassen National Volcanic Park. And he like moves away and he's like, I'm just gonna like live in the wilderness with my dog. But he's sort of like starting to run out of supplies that he needs, and he's like dreading this like inevitable return that he has to make every 5 years or so to society to like, you know, refill on supplies and like, you know, get things he needs, get the essentials. And when he comes back, things have gotten a lot darker than when he left. There's something destroying the world. And he kind of comes back into this town after it's been ravaged by this thing. And he doesn't know what to do. And he's like he is trying to understand like what happened, trying to figure out, you know, what has like destroyed everything, what's hurt all these people, how he can stop it, like everything. Like this is like his selfish moment to shine, right? Like everybody was so dependent on the internet, everybody forgot how to survive. And so now he's coming in to try to like save the world. But he's an idiot, and he's just like a big oaf, and he has no idea like what the world's really made of, or like what this thing is that destroyed everybody. What's funny is Bare Bones was a story that I started to develop, and I stopped because Warcorn started to take off, and I just kind of shelved it until my buddy Benjamin Main, who owns Black Cape Comics, came to me and he said, "Hey, I want to make this book. Can I make this and it'll be like a Black Cape Comics exclusive? Like you can only buy it from my store." And I was like, "Sure, if you want to make it, like we'll get it back on track." So that book, you can only get that book through Black Cape Comics. It's like truly an exclusive. The whole series, not even just a variant, the whole series is only sold through that retailer. And so what we're trying to do is create a system where things are more exclusive, because now you can, you know, the price tag for the retailer is more, but now they get to say, well, nobody else has this. We're the only people that have this book. So it's a lot more of an exclusive item. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot, you know, more rare, etc. So,
yeah, but then the store is kind of becoming like the publisher in a sense.
exactly. Like they become sort of like an imprint of the publisher, where they then get to be an advocate for publishing that book, being like, this is our thing. And they get to feel like part of it. Like they didn't just make a variant. They got to be a part of making that comic. So like to them, it's like, wow, we made this happen. We did this thing and we put it out in the world. Like it's so great. So, yeah.
And then you also have another property called Cold Dead Hands.
Yes.
You sent me a preview copy to read, and I thought it was really fantastic. I really liked it. I love your writing. Your sense of dialogue is just very fun and natural, and it's a cool story. And I like how it kind of goes into some Greek mythology stuff. And,
yes.
Yeah.
All historically accurate stuff too. So Cold Dead Hands, I love Cold Dead Hands so much. So it follows aspiring mercenary Kit Kelso, who comes wrist to wrist with the deadliest hands in history. He basically gets zombie hands that have like crazy killing power, and they're just like god hands from this like ancient Greek mercenary named Athos Matisse. But I knew when I made Cold Dead Hands, like I wanted to add in a lot of like mythological elements and a lot of like you know, sort of like cool pieces to the story, but I wanted it to be real things that people could look up. Like when you're reading the book and in the first, you know, like 8 pages, it shows this auction house and they're talking about this, like, you know, the sword of the tiger of Malaysia. Like that's a real person. That sword is even the picture that's drawn is drawn based off of the actual one that was sold at auction. Like all those things are very real. The battles that happen that we reference, you know, from the flashbacks are real battles, like the Battle of Marathon Plains, tons of stuff. So it's fun because it's like goes in and out of fantasy, in and out of like ridiculousness and weirdness and crazy. But those story elements like still kind of ground you in like, oh, this is like real. Like this happened. Like these people were all like brutally killed, like in this one place. So it's cool. I think it adds to the story.
Yeah, I love Greek mythology. I'm Greek, and
Nice.
I incorporate it into my books too. I've got the oracles of Meteora. I've got
Yeah.
minotaurs and
Yeah.
gorgons and things like that. So I love that lore, and
Yeah.
it was cool to see it in your book. I really like the art as well. I
Yeah.
thought it kind of had Phil Hester meets Mike Mignola kind of vibe to it.
Thank you. That was like exactly everybody that looks at that book is like, man, like I wasn't expecting this art style. Like this is really strange and weird and cool. Like that was exactly what I was going for. I wanted something very different. And when I was searching for an artist, I literally posted online. I was like, hey, I'm looking for sort of like a Mike Mignola-esque artist, but with sort of like a weird take on it. And someone recommended me to Lee Malewski, who had this like weird geometric like way of like layering shapes to create these weird angles and to create these weird like, you know, whole concept of like it just looks so different than like anything I had seen. And I loved it. I thought it was perfect for the book. I I love his work a lot.
And so Cold Dead Hands is like it just came out, like just
Yeah.
this Wednesday.
Yesterday it hit comic shops. Wednesday it hit comic shops. I drove down to like my local comic shop and like bought the last copy off the shelf. But yeah, it comes out. The first one just came out. The second one comes out next month, and then the third one comes out in December.
And so if someone's watching this, they can go up to their comic book store and ask the shop owner to order Cold Dead Hands from the Previews magazine. And,
Yeah,
and bring
absolutely.
it in for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bare Bones, if someone wants to get it, and where would they go to the website of the comic?
Yeah, so they can go to I believe it's blackcapecomics.com, and it's like on the it's on like on the homepage. You see a big old bare bones thing.
Yeah, Garrett, you got so many cool things going on, and you're such a fun person. It just like at the Wizard World Con, it seemed like you're just having a blast, like the whole weekend there. Really great with your fans and everybody who would come and talk with you, and just cracking jokes and hanging out. And you're
I think like that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people let comics get to be like, oh my god, I have to sell so many copies and I have to like do this thing because I have to be successful and I have to whatever. Like you should be like, I'm in comics to enjoy myself and to have a good time. Like I'm in comics to make relationships and network with people and like get opportunities to tell stories and like make fun things and to have experiences with people that I look at. Like there's people I work with now that like I looked up to before that now I'm like meeting and being like, dude, you're so-and-so. Like, why are you talking to me? Like, you want to do a cover for me? Like, what? And like that, I try to let that bleed over into like the experiences that I have with people that come to my table, because like, I don't want someone to come to my table and be like, man, like that guy talked to me to spend all this money on his book. I didn't really give a shit. Like, if you don't want to read it, like, that's fine. Like, you don't have to buy my book. That's okay. Like, just, I'm going to give you my pitch. If you like it, cool. If you don't, dope. How's your day? Like, that's it.
I can totally understand what you're saying. Like, it's been such a rush for me. I share a studio now with John Delaney, and
Yeah.
I remember buying his books when I was a kid. Adventures in the DC Universe came out, and I was like, holy smokes, this is amazing. I got to work with guys like Ali Garza and Scott McDaniel. And like just people I kind of idolized when I was younger, and now they're, we're collaborating on projects. But on the other hand, it's not all like fun for me, because like for me, I feel like I have like a lot of pressure on myself to succeed, right? I'm trying to make this like my career, and like I dove into it full time. I quit my day job. So there's like, when I'm at the convention, it is fun, but at the same time, it's like,
I will give you a smidgen. Not that I'm anybody who should give advice, but I'll give you a sliver of wisdom that I take from like, something that all military people say, which is slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? Like the more you try to like really dive into it and really like, I have to do this, I have to whatever, it only hurts you. Like the people that succeed in general are people like, especially storytellers, and not so much like the art side, right? Like the storytellers, the people that succeed are the people who can take a step back and be like, it's cool. Like we're doing this and we're like appreciating the ride, the journey, right? Like all those people that like, you know, are so focused, they're so focused on the end goal that they miss all the opportunities that are around them, like in their immediate vicinity. And so like, you got to just remember that shit. Like, dude, all I do, I just feel like I just hang out and make fun shit. Like that's all it is. And this stuff comes to you when people feel like you're an approachable, you know, dependable, you know, person that they can like have a real experience with and make something with, rather than being like, oh my god, I'm gonna work with this person, it's gonna be so stressful and it's gonna be so crazy and like everything else. Like you're gonna get all the good things, all the good things, all the people that are toxic are gonna go to those people, and you're gonna get all the people that are like, yeah man, I'm in it because I love comics, like let's do some dope shit. Like that's it, that's the secret, is like not trying.
So I want to thank you for being on the show, Garrett.
Of course.
You're a blast, and I hope people search out Cold Dead Hands and Bare Bones and your other properties. And thanks for being on Inside Comics with George McHale. Peace.